Hey guys, I just came back home from the theater. I just watched Mickey 17 and I've seen a few what do you say headlines, videos titled like, that it wasn't good or that it was mid or whatever. But I think that's partially true, but that's also like not true. And I feel like okay, so should we just skip to the ending? Let's skip to the ending. Why not? I'm assuming if you're here, you've seen Mickey 17. If you have not, I think you should watch it. I think it's pretty good. Anyway, they almost landed the ending. They were so close to landing the ending. But I do think I'm going to do this in order, actually. Okay, so it starts off kind of like, okay, and then Robert Pattinson is putting on some sort of like, quote, autistic accent, which I'm not sure if I like it or not. I'm not sure if I agree or not. They definitely could have went with like a more, the substance kind of approach where like his clones looked enough like him but like weren't literally just him acting them. They could have gotten an actual autistic actor to do those scenes, but I mean, sure, Robert Pattinson with acting autistic, why not? Like, why not? At least it wasn't as offensive as that like music movie with with Sia and Maddie Ziegler. So let me just talk about my favorite part of the movie. My favorite part of the movie was this like philosophical, because I'm a philosophy. I'm a philosophy head. I'm a philosophy brat. I fucking love philosophy. So my favorite part of the movie was definitely the, like, I guess it was underlying and then it was like very much blatant and then it was underlying again. Like the question of what is identity. So now we're going to get super personal. In college, I took a philosophy course that kind of changed my life. I was obsessed with everything we talked about. And there was this one thing my professor said. He said, if there was an identity-making machine, if I sent your consciousness into this machine and it transferred through some sort of like non-physical portal to Mars and created a human being there, is that you? We were all like, well, yeah, like it's your consciousness. It just, sends to a different planet. Sure, it's you. Who cares? He's like, okay, so you guys are viewing it more as like a transportation device in that sense then. Yeah, sure, why not? And then he said, what if it's your entire body and your consciousness being sent through some, magical machine and, it sends you, your body, your mind, everything, your consciousness to Mars. Even more so, transportation device. Okay, what if you die and only your consciousness remains? Like your physical body's dead, you stop breathing, you die. And then like I guess you're in the machine as you're dying. As you die. And right after you die, your consciousness is sent to Mars. And it creates a new body and a new everything for you. Now the class was like a little bit split because they were like, okay, well, it's still technically a transportation device. You're sending over this stuff to a fucking extra body on Mars. And then the other half of the class was like, well, no, you're creating the body out of other fucking things because the physical body on Earth died. That can be burned. That's no longer you. So the thing on Mars is something different. And that was half of the class, right? So it was split. Then he said, what if there's a mistake? And as they're sending the consciousness of one person to Mars, they accidentally make two people. Like, well, not two people. They accidentally, like, send consciousness and it splits. into two things that think the same, act the same, look the same, everything the same memories, everything. Is that you? Is that the same person? Is that one person? And so this movie kind of like spoke to that class I went, and I have never forgotten it. It was like sophomore year of college, and I've never forgotten that class because it was a lot to think about. Because even the movie like went there. They were like, okay, well, if one of them, like the one guy who made 3 multiples of himself, if one of them commits a crime, do the other ones go to prison? Right? And then with the 2 Mickeys, it, brought me back to that class because the teacher was like, yeah, like we're thinking about where identity stops and ends. Does identity depend on the location? Just because you started off on Earth and then went through the device and now you're on Mars? Is it still you? Oh yeah, okay, cool. Okay, well, if there's, if one you dies and then the next one begins, is that still you? Okay, yeah, why not? And then basically what we got from that class was that most people are fine with the death, and the only problem arises when there's multiples, literally. So it was literally like the movie. That's why I was so invested in it, because I was like, this is my philosophy class, like right now, it's happening. And so, is that person, like, say the thing happens where you go into the train, or let's just talk about the movie, right? 2 Mickeys. Let's say the first Mickey had a wife and kids. Are those still his wife and kids after that one dies and the next one is alive? Some people would say, yeah, sure, why not? What's the problem? Okay, now there's 2 Mickeys. Whose wife and kids are those? Now there's 3. Now there's 4. Right? We had one Mickey try and kill the guy from The Walking Dead. Do they both go to jail? Because if that's in your consciousness at all, are you not both at fault? That new Mickey has all of your memories, all of your stream of thoughts, all of your trauma, everything. That Mickey was created from your mind. So are you not both responsible for the crimes that one Mickey commits? But if the answer to that is yes, then both Mickeys share the same wife and kids. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And that's why I just fucking love philosophy so much, because identity, you can never solve that. You can never solve it, because it's 2 minds. It's one mind split in 2 different bodies. And that's where the biggest issue comes. Is like, is it the same person? Is it still you after a completely new flesh and bones are attached to that new consciousness? Or is it still you after the continuity of consciousness has elapsed, right? Like if you die and then are killed and then your consciousness is put in a clone, is that still you? Right? So I just fucking love philosophy. So that's the biggest part of the movie that I fucking fell in love with. How long was I just talking about that? Oh god, it's been 8 minutes. Or 9, okay. So let's wrap this up. I thought the movie was pretty interesting for the philosophical part of it. But with those big walrus thingies, I was like, okay, like, what? Like, it was just so far removed from the, like, themes of philosophy, the, like, intricate, attempt to understand what identity means, or where identity starts and ends, right? Just like the philosophy class. So once it started getting too deep into the little monster thing, it was getting weird. It was getting, like, too weird. We were straying too far away from the interesting conversations we were actually having with the beginning, with you know, the question of identity, with the question of, multiples, ownership, who's responsible for the crimes, whose wife and children are these now? Does identity require continuity of consciousness? Does identity require only one person to be the holder of that identity? And if two people hold the same identity, is one more valid than the other? That's where the movie was strongest at. That was the strength of the movie. And so once they strayed away from that with the animals, and then, oh, they actually like humans, and, mercy and all this shit, like the Trump shit was kind of funny. Like, there was a character who was like an allegory for Trump. I thought that shit was hilarious. Yeah, Robert Pattinson, he performed very well. Like, when he was two different Mickeys, you could see the difference. Like, it was very blatant, very obvious. So I thought that was really good. I thought the, elites, like, just treating people like guinea pigs and shit, I thought that was really good. I thought that was really powerful as well. But the reason why I feel like the ending almost was iconic, almost was amazing, almost landed, was because at the end of this movie, Mickey is having a fucking goddamn dream that the identity machine is still up and running, that the president's wife created a clone of the president, and Mickey, in this dream, asks the president's wife, he's like, wait, I thought you killed, like, they were saying that you killed yourself. I thought you died. And she pauses. And she's like, touch me and see if I'm a ghost. Touch me and see if I'm a ghost. And then it doesn't show you him touching her. But he wakes up. And it's like, if this was not a fucking dream, it would have ended brilliantly. Because of course, the elite and the rich would be like, hey, multiples are bad. Hey, no multiples, blah, blah, blah. So I thought the twist was, okay, yeah, the president's wife killed herself after the president and the bad Mickey did like a selfless sacrifice to kill the president, right? Of course, she went crazy in prison or whatever and she killed herself. That made sense. Cool. I thought the twist was, she fucking killed herself and it was no big deal because she, as a rich elite, obviously had a multiple. Or maybe multiple multiples. So when at the end, when Mickey asks her, like, hey, like, they said that you killed yourself. I thought you killed yourself. That would have been a satisfying twist for her to be like, touch me, see if I'm a ghost. And then he touches her. They don't even have to show us, like, him touching her. But he reaches to touch her. Roll credits. Perfect ending. Because it leaves it to the audience to be like, come on, this is, like, obviously a parody of, like, the current state of the world, the elites, the government, where, they'll tell its citizens, like, hey, like, you can't do this, this is bad, don't do that, da 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 da, and, like, things are outlawed for public safety. Yet, the government's doing it, right? They're doing it themselves. So, of course, obviously, the president and the president's wife had multiples of themselves. Obviously, they did. But no, they did not. He was just dreaming. And I feel like that sullied the movie, the end for me. No, it was just a dream. Also, yeah, Bad Mickey was kind of hot. Let's just call a thing. Me and my sister were like, oh my God, I cannot wait to look in the lady from Blink Twice. Cannot wait to look in her Instagram comments and see if people are like shitting on her because she had some sex scenes and kiss scenes with Robert Pattinson. They don't play about him. Like, the white girlies do not play about their Robert Pattinson. When he was dating FK Twigs, they almost bullied her off the planet. Okay? And obviously this is just a movie, but still, I wonder if there's some weird delusional fans, like, going crazy in her comments, like, fuck you, bitch. He don't like you anyway. Because there was, like, a raunchy ass sex scene. And they were in love. And I will admit that that shit touched me so much when she would, like, be in the chamber with him while he was dying and stuff. And, like, she cared so much about him. And, yeah, I just thought it was, some of the scenes were really powerful. How, like, the elites were just doing business as usual and just so eager to kill him and, like, watch him die and stuff. It was just crazy. Anyways, that is it for this video. Go watch Mickey. Have you seen Mickey? Pretty good. Pretty good.